All right, so we're going to get started. Thank you everybody for joining. Today we are going to kick off our Georgia Gives series by going back to really talking about the basics, which starts with introducing Mightycause, which is the platform that GAgives.org is running off of, and to share some basics and actually some really great tips and resources for you from Mightycause is Bethany. Bethany is the Director of Community Engagement for Mightycause. I work with her as part of the Georgia Gives team to put together the best that we can program-wise for Georgia Gives. And so without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Bethany. Thank you for being part of today.
Great, thank you, Louisa. Go ahead and share my screen. So hopefully everyone can see my presentation up on the screen. We'll be kicking off today's webinar, as Louisa mentioned, really as an intro to Georgia Gives, an intro to the Mightycause platform, what you need to know to get your page up and ready, some basics for the campaign. We'll also cover a few things for those of you that are returning from a previous year. What do you need to take into account this year? So the goal of today is to really get you and your nonprofit up and running for this year's Georgia Gives event. So starting with just a few basics about the Georgia Gives campaign. As most of you must know, hosted by the Georgia Center for Nonprofits, Louisa and Emily kicking off today's webinar for us today. And it's really about one day of giving that brings together the entire state of Georgia. So it's been hosted for many years now. It's a partner in the Global Giving Tuesday movement. So every year the Georgia Gives Day now happens on Giving Tuesday, right after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. The fun of Giving Tuesday gets started, and Georgia Gives is a big piece of that. Last year was an incredibly successful event with over 13 million raised across the state of Georgia. And we're all excited to get this year's campaign kicked off. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Mightycause, as Louisa mentioned, we are the technology platform partner for GAgives.org. My name is Bethany Natoli. I'm the Director of Community Engagement, and I am the project manager that gets to work with the GCN team to help make this event a success. For those of you that aren't super familiar with Mightycause, in the context of Georgia Gives, we're going to be your go-to contact for any technical support. So the platform is hosted on Mightycause. And if you have a question, how to upload your logo, where to access your donations report, all that kind of stuff, you'll be coming to Mightycause Support. So we'll share the email address later in the webinar, but support@mightycause.com. That's going to be your go-to for any technical support you have in the lead up to and during Georgia Gives Day. We also run a year-round giving platform with full software as a service tools for nonprofits, everything from a CRM, a donation page for your website, peer-to-peer fundraising tools. So we're really a one-stop shop for nonprofits of all shapes and sizes around all year long. And we're happy to partner with Georgia Gives to support this Giving Day. And as many of you may know, the Georgia Gives platform is available on a year-round basis. They spun up an additional event back in May as a part of Giving Tuesday now. So the platform's available on a year-round basis, but what we're here to talk about today is Georgia Gives Day. So for anyone who might be relatively new to this space and you're not really sure what Giving Days are all about, we'll just start with a brief intro. And really the goal of a Giving Day is to bring together nonprofits, donors, businesses, media, as many people as possible across the state, all in a united effort to give back and make a difference in your community across your state. So for your individual nonprofit, it's a great opportunity to spread awareness of your mission and the work that you do, come together with other nonprofits, get exposed to other donors in the community, raise money for your cause. There's lots of exciting things that are a part of a 24-hour giving day, leaderboards, power hours, prizes. But really, it's about bringing together sponsors, community partners, peer-to-peer fundraisers that you can get on board to support you, volunteers, board members, bringing together as many people across the state and for your organization individually to raise much needed funds before the end of the year. And like many things in life, you get out of it what you put into it. So just creating a profile on GAgives.org is not enough to have a successful campaign. And that's really what we're here to talk about today. What do you need to do to get set up? And then how can you start thinking about additional strategies, things that you can put into place and add to your campaign so that you can be successful this year. So we'll start with just a few of the basics on getting started. The very first step is to make sure that your nonprofit is on GAgives.org. The site is meant to have all nonprofits across the state of Georgia, but if perhaps you're a very small nonprofit, you're a new nonprofit, you're fiscally sponsored by another organization, you'll first want to go to GAgives.org and search to make sure your organization is there. If you're not there, you can contact support@mightycause.com and we can give you the documentation. We can let you know the documentation we need to get your organization added. And if you are there, you'll have the opportunity to claim access to your nonprofit's profile on the platform. So right from your page, as soon as you get to your page, you should see an option to claim my nonprofit. That's really your main step to participate and be a part of Georgia Gives Day, is make sure your nonprofit is on the platform, able to be found via the search and able to accept donations. So moving beyond the basics, you'll want to customize your organization's profile, and we'll go through the key steps that you need to know to do that successfully today. There'll be an opportunity to register if you'd like to be eligible for prizes or the live stream. More information on that coming later. Next, you'll want to plan your fundraising campaign. So think about the key messaging. What story are you going to tell? How are you going to promote your campaign across all your different channels? See if you might have individuals that can come on board as a peer-to-peer fundraiser or just another type of ambassador that can help you spread the word. And then start raising money. So as I mentioned, all organizations that are in the state of Georgia are eligible to be a part of Georgia Gives Day, able to raise funds. So what you need to do to participate is make sure your organization is on GAgives.org. Registration is something that will be coming in the coming months. There will be a form that you can fill out on GAgives.org. This registration is only necessary if you want to be eligible for specific prizes that may be offered, as well as a live stream that will be going on during Georgia Gives Day. So stay tuned for more information about that. But in the meantime, know that as long as your organization is on GAgives.org, you are ready to be a part of this year's event. So once you have access to your organization's page on the platform, when you log in, you'll see that you have a dashboard down the left-hand side of your page. So that dashboard is really going to be what navigates you through all the different things that you can do on the platform. So the very top of that dashboard, you'll find your overview page. This is going to give you the key stats since you've last logged in. You'll find your to-do list here. We'll talk more about that in a moment, but that's a helpful way to make sure that you are making progress towards completing your profile. And there may be other key messages here from time to time about upcoming webinars, prizes, registration, etc. The next item down on your dashboard will be the supporters tool. This is an advanced feature, so only certain subscribers may have this tool available. So I'm going to skip over that, but just in case you see it and you're wondering what that is, that's the Mightycause CRM tool. Next item down on the dashboard is your fundraising. options, this is going to be where you find your organization's profile page. So from fundraising, you'll access your organization's profile to customize that. You'll have the option to create and manage any peer-to-peer fundraisers, customize your checkout flow, access matching grants, lots of great tools related to fundraising you can find under that tab. Next item down is reports. This is going to be a great one to give you all the data that you need on your donors, disbursements. We have a donor retention report that I'll talk a little bit more later on, but that will be your access to all of your donor data. And the final option on the dashboard is your settings. One of the most important things you can do here is add or remove other admins once you have access. And then you can manage other things like your disbursements, reviewing your name, address, etc. for your organization. So now that we've done a quick overview, I'm going to do a deeper dive on the key items that you'll want to be navigating as you get yourself ready for Georgia Gives Day. So the first is customizing your profile. I mentioned the to-do list earlier, and the to-do list is a great way to make sure that you're completing what we consider 5 of the most important steps that you can take to be ready. Of course, there's a lot of other things you could do on the platform. You can add additional things, but that's really a great way to make sure if you complete all 5 items on the to-do list, you should be in pretty good shape for this year's event. And your profile page, which will get filled out as you complete those items on the to-do list, this is going to be the main link that you share with supporters. So when you're building out your emails, social media campaign, etc., you'll likely be sending them directly to this organization profile page for them to learn about your organization, see how you're doing as a part of Georgia Gives Day, and make their donation. So this is really your opportunity to give them a reason to make their donation, get them excited about the work that you're doing, share critical information. You can customize the look and feel of this page. You'll also have the opportunity to select your categories. So what categories does your nonprofit serve? And selecting those categories means that when donors come to georgiagives.org, they're able to search for education, for example, and pull up your organization in the search if you happen to be a nonprofit that serves that category. So right at the top of your profile page, you'll have the option to edit your theme. And this is really where you can make the page look and feel like your organization. So you have the option to upload a background image. We do have a gallery available where you can choose from our gallery if you don't have an image or if you're working to get a great image, but it's always recommended that you upload your own image, and think of this more as a background image. It's more just for context to help give the donor the feel of your organization, just like they would get when they come to your website, for example. So you also have the option to upload your logo, one of the most important things that you can do. It's a 1-to-1 aspect ratio, so this is going to be the same size and structure as you would use uploading to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, for example. So you should already have a 1-to-1 aspect ratio logo. You can upload that right in the center of your page. And you also have the option to add a filter color over that background image if you'd like to help make your logo pop a little bit more. And you can select the theme color. So that theme color will follow kind of throughout the page here. Your donate button and other headings throughout the page will take on that theme color. So you have the option to either pick maybe the main color from your logo or one of the complementary colors from your logo. And again, just help the profile page look and feel as much like your organization and your branding as possible. So moving down the page, really the meat of the page is the opportunity to tell your story. And you'll have an inline editor, as you can see from the example here, so that you can add formatting, photos, videos, links, emojis, whatever it might be to help make the story that you're telling a little more exciting. So of course you can just come and drop in a paragraph of text if you'd like, but it's always nice to make it a little more exciting and engaging for the donor or visitor to the page by adding some of that additional formatting, photos, something that's going to help your key messages really pop off the page. And just like we know from every other aspect of our lives, people aren't great at reading. They don't have a long attention span with reading. So if you do have images or video, that can be a really helpful way to tell the story for you. So one of the most important things to make sure that you all feel comfortable with is the ability to access your donor information. Georgia Gives is about bringing organizations together to raise money on the day of the event, but it's also about helping nonprofits develop their network of supporters, engage and steward those supporters on a year-round basis to grow your fundraising. And so one of the key ways that you can do that is by knowing how to access your donor data and downloading that information so that you have what you need to do that necessary follow-up post-event. So by default, anyone who is an administrator for your organization on GeorgiaGives.org will receive a notification when a donation is made. Now, if you have the great problem of getting hundreds of donations on Georgia Gives Day and you or one of the other admins is not interested in receiving a notification at every single donation, you have the option to update that in your profile. Under your settings, you can decide not to receive those email notifications. You can always log in at any time to this donations report, which will be under that report section of your dashboard, and all of your donor data will be there in real time. So just because you're not getting a notification doesn't mean you'll have any trouble accessing the information. It'll just be accessible on screen in your report rather than through your emails. You'll see on screen the key details about the donation, but you can always download a full CSV that will have all the details that you need about the donation. That CSV is then easily manipulated if you have an external donor database CRM system that you want to upload the data into. You have the ability to filter your donations if you only want to see donations from the last 30 days, if you're looking for donations from the whole year thus far, because you're looking to either exclude those donors or say something particular to those donors before this year's Georgia Gives campaign. You have filters at the top, as well as a search if you're looking for a specific donor in particular. And another report that's going to be really helpful to be aware of is your disbursement report. So on GeorgiaGives.org, funds are dispersed twice a month via direct deposit. You will need to sign up for EFT to receive your funds via direct deposit, but it's free to do so and very easy to do so through your settings. If you don't sign up for EFT, you will be sent a check once a month to the address that's on file with the IRS database. Of course, this year, more than ever, we're encouraging organizations to sign up for EFT in case you're not at your office, so that you don't have any trouble receiving your funds as quickly as possible. Once you do receive a disbursement, whether it's via check or direct deposit, there will be a detailed report in the disbursements tab of the reports section on your dashboard, and that will give you all the details that you need to be able to reconcile the funds that you receive from us. How many donations, what donations were included, what fees if any were included, etc. So that'll be a helpful one for post Georgia Gives Day this year. As a part of the donations report, you'll have the option to add an offline donation to your page if you'd like. So Georgia Gives Day is really about celebrating all the donations that are happening across the state on that day. Of course, Georgia Gives is providing a digital platform for online giving to make it really easy for donors to make their donation, but you may have certain donors that decide to send you a check or something, maybe pay cash the old-fashioned way. If you'd like to add their donation so that it gets counted on your organization's profile page, you have the ability to add an offline donation right from your donations report. You can decide whether these count on your organization page or not. Typically, these offline donations won't count for leaderboards or prizes, but it's a great way to make sure that your profile page is reflecting all the giving that's happening to your organization during the day. You'll also have the option to customize your checkout flow. So you will have the ability to add custom donation suggestions. So what does a $25 donation mean for your organization, for example? What does a $50 donation mean for your organization? You can set 4 suggested donation levels. You can choose what those amounts are and then add a description to help donors see the tangible impact of their gift. You also have the opportunity to choose what data you want to collect. If it's really critical for you to collect phone number or company, etc., you can toggle on those options in your checkout flow. We always encourage you to preview your checkout before the event happens so that you and maybe your executive director and or board president know exactly what the donation experience is going to look like. Make sure you haven't added too many extra steps, slowing down the donation process. And then also you have the opportunity to preview the post-checkout experience. So through GAgives platform, you can customize a thank you page that donors will see when they complete their donation and the receipt that they will receive after they make their gift. So the receipt is automatically sent through the platform and it will give them the key acknowledgement, tax details, information. You have the ability to add custom text that gets added into that. So we encourage you to complete both of those items so that the donation experience really feels connected to your organization and the campaign that you're running for Georgia Gives Day. And you can do that through checkout flow under the tab that says post checkout. Settings, we've talked about a bit before, but the key things that you can really do here, as I mentioned, add or remove admins. So if you're new to your organization, pop into the admin section here. If there's anybody that's left your organization that you want to go ahead and remove, you can do that. If there's anybody else on your team that needs to have access, you can go ahead and add them. So, you know, we already covered the disbursement report. Maybe somebody in your accounting or finance team would want to have access so that they can log in and pull that report directly, etc. You're welcome to add up to 10 administrators are available per organization. So feel free to add other members of your team that should have access to the platform. You can always also update your legal address, your name. The Mightycause platform is importing data from the IRS database on a monthly basis. So the name and address connected to your page will be the address and name that are on file with the IRS. If for some reason that's changed, you're in the process of changing it, we do have a process for you to update your address. You'll just need to provide documentation, and you can do that right here through the settings page. This is also where you can set up your EFT disbursement. As I mentioned, it's very quick and easy. You can click on disbursement settings, sign up for EFT. You'll have the opportunity to add your account and routing number. And for many organizations, that is enough to get your EFT approved, because we are partnered with a banking database that is able to cross-check that information against your organization's name. If for some reason that's not possible for us to verify it, maybe you are with a local credit union, for example, then you may need to provide additional documentation in the form of a voided check or a bank letter. But for many organizations, we're able to approve it immediately with the account and routing number. So again, quick and easy to set that up. It's free, so you will avoid the $5 fee that comes with a paper check that needs to be issued. And you'll receive your funds twice a month directly into your account instead of just once a month mailed to you. So definitely, if you haven't signed up for EFT yet, recommend doing that as one of the key setup processes for Georgia Gives this year. You'll also have the option here to customize the social share experience for your organization page, customize the end of the URL for your organization's page. So great to take a look at and review all of this stuff before this year's campaign. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we may have some people joining us today that have done Georgia Gives in the past, and you're wondering, what do you need to do again this year if you've already participated? Aren't you ready to go? So we've got a couple of things specifically for those who are returning this year. You will likely have a page that's already built. You may have an image, your logo should be there. You'll hopefully have a story up on your page, but it's always great to refresh this page. So take a look, update the story. Maybe you have 2019 in the text, for example, great opportunity to get that changed. Maybe your reality has changed in the world of 2020, in which everything is a little bit different and unique. You might feel it's important to update the story and tell a little bit of a different story about the work that your organization is doing in the community in light of COVID-19 or whatever else might be going on. Add fresh new images or a new video if you have one available. Reset your page metrics. So if you participated last year and you haven't updated your page since, you might see that you still have last year's donation amount and last year's goal amount visible on your page. You don't have to reset these metrics, but it will make for a more streamlined campaign, and it'll be a better experience for donors coming to your page if you reset your metrics back to 0, reset that goal, and maybe update your goal, change your goal for this year's campaign so that when giving begins for this year's Georgia Gives campaign, you'll be starting from 0. You'll know, as well as donors visiting the page will know, how are you doing in this year's campaign in particular. Update your checkout flow. So I mentioned this already, how to do this. You may have some information here from last year, whether it's the donation levels or the thank you experience, but take a look at that. Make sure that is up to date and ready to go for this year's campaign in particular. As well with the settings, you may have most of this information already done. You may have already reviewed your admins in the past. You may have already signed up for EFT, etc. But every year it's great to come back and review the information. Take a look at that admin list again and make sure there aren't any changes that you need to make. Double check your address, name, make sure that's up to date. EFT, make sure that that's still accurate, nothing has changed, or that you don't need to update your account information. We want to make sure there's no delays in getting you these critical funds that you're raising through Georgia Gives Day. So take a look through your settings page and review everything to make sure it's still up to date and accurate. And I mentioned retention a little bit earlier, but as a returning organization to Georgia Gives Day, you have this great additional resource of donors that have given to your organization in a previous year's Georgia Gives campaign. So if you participated last year, you have donors that have already given to your organization on Georgia Gives Day. So you'll want to create special plans and pay special attention to these donors. You've already made the case to them to give to you on Georgia Gives Day in the past, so they should hopefully be an easier sell, low-hanging fruit to come back and give again this year. But they won't automatically come back and give again this year just because they gave in the past. So you have an opportunity to really develop a special plan for these donors. Start the conversation now. Now, hopefully you've been talking to these donors since last year's Georgia Gives Day. They've been receiving your email communications. Maybe they got invited to in-person events back when those were still happening. So hopefully you've been talking to them year-round. If not, and even if you have, now's a great time to pick back up the conversation in a more focused way. So you have the opportunity to work with them to increase their gift this year's Georgia Gives Day. So if they gave $100 last year, maybe this year they might be willing to bump up that donation, give a little bit of a larger gift. So through your dashboard, you will see right here on your overview screen a stat about donor retention, but you'll also have a specific report that gives you the details on donor retention. So from that report, you can filter to see who gave during last year's Georgia Gives campaign that has not yet given this year, who gave last year that has already given this year once early giving kicks off for Georgia Gives Day. So you'll want to pay attention to that donor retention report, access it, and run that report multiple times during the day. And, you know, at 3 o'clock on the day, for example, if you still have a large number of donors that are unretained from the previous year, that's a great afternoon activity for either yourself or a member of your development team. Maybe you call your bigger donors that haven't been retained, or do a special email campaign for those donors. But take advantage of this resource that you have to make focused plans to improve donor retention and retain these all-important donors. So we've covered now many of the technical pieces of how to navigate the platform, how to update your page, how to add admins, etc. And now we're going to transition a little bit into some of the things that you're going to want to consider in terms of really making the most of this year's campaign. So first, if you haven't yet visited the Nonprofit Toolkit, go there now. It is available at georgiagives.org. And on this toolkit, there's all kinds of great information. First, it starts with a step-by-step set of instructions. So whether you're new or returning, that's a great guideline for you to move through those 4 steps, to complete the items, to access the resources that are available there, so that you're not doing this on your own, you're not reinventing the wheel, but you're taking advantage of all kinds of resources that have been prepared for you, like timelines, checklists, email templates, tips for social media, etc. Lots of great information there. The webinars, Louisa mentioned webinars earlier in today's call, but there are upcoming webinars that you will be able to learn even more, dig more into fundraising strategy for Georgia Gives. Here through the Nonprofit Toolkit, you will be able to access and sign up for those trainings. There's also a detailed FAQ that will walk you through all of the most common questions that you might have about this year's campaign. So this year, starting on November 1st, early donations will be open for Georgia Gives Day. So of course, Giving Day is often about 24 hours of really intense, exciting giving that happens right on Giving Tuesday. But many organizations find a successful strategy in starting some of their outreach a little bit earlier and trying to build momentum up to the culmination, which happens on Giving Tuesday. So when you're planning out your email campaign, planning out social media posts, starting that messaging ahead of time, donors will be able to make their donation and have it count for Georgia Gives Day from November 1st on. So those donations will be made and processed immediately. You'll be able to see them on the donations report. They just have an opportunity to give early and have it count for the event. Another key strategy that will help either amplify your campaign if you've participated in the past, or even if you're a first-time organization, really help you make your campaign successful, is peer-to-peer fundraising. So through Mightycause, there are lots of options for peer-to-peer fundraising. You can have an individual start a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign on behalf of your organization, but we also have great options for teams or groups of people to fundraise on your behalf, compete against each other to fundraise for your organization. So lots of really great things that you can do. And it's a great opportunity to get some of your most engaged supporters to take their support of your organization to the next level. So maybe they've given year after year, maybe they're a monthly donor, they attend your events, they're a volunteer, all kinds of great things. Becoming a peer-to-peer fundraiser is a great next step in stewarding these supporters. And basically through the tools that you have on the platform, you're giving them the tools that they need to spread the word about your organization, help raise money, help engage their network, and tell their story about why they support your organization. Why have they volunteered with your organization for 5 years? Why did they join the board? Whatever it might be, they will have a personal story about why they support your organization, the impact it's had on their life, their friend, family, etc. And that personal story is a really great additional reason that their friends and family are going to give. Their friends and family will want to support what they're doing, but that personal touch goes a longer way than just hearing from your organization about the impact in a general way. That can really make it a more personal connection for those donors. So through the platform, you have some great tools to be able to manage and encourage this peer-to-peer fundraising. So from your dashboard, under the fundraising tab, you'll see a campaigns option that you can click on. From here, you can see any campaigns that have been started by your organization. So for example, if you have a specific focused initiative that you want to raise funds for, you're welcome to start a fundraiser page on your own. Or if individuals are creating peer-to-peer fundraisers on your behalf, you can see and access those as well. So you can manage these campaigns. You have the option to see the key details about their fundraiser, how much they've raised, when did they start it. You can visit their page, track their progress. You can email them directly right through the tool if you'd like. So this is a great way to help these fundraisers be successful, is to email them throughout the campaign and give them encouragement, provide resources, tips, tricks, whatever it might be to help them be successful. You could also hide old pages. If you have somebody that started a peer-to-peer fundraiser for you last year and they're not going to be using that page again this year, you can hide that so it's not visible anymore. And new this year that wasn't available last year is your organization has the option to create a fundraiser template. So right through this campaign screen, you'll see a button right at the top of the page that says fundraiser templates. Clicking on this will allow you to create a fundraiser template for Georgia Gives, so that when a peer-to-peer fundraiser comes to the platform to create a campaign for your organization, they can make use of the template that you have built for them. So on that template, you can add a photo, you can add some basic information about your organization, you can preset a goal for them, for example. And that means that when they come, they just have a couple clicks and they're ready to get their page up and launched. They always have the option to customize the page and add more personal details if they'd like. But for those that are trying to do it most quickly, or if you know, for example, all of your board members are going to come and start a fundraiser, you can create a template for them and just streamline the process for them. So I mentioned earlier that there's multiple different ways that peer-to-peer fundraising can happen on the platform. Individual fundraising we just talked about. Team fundraising is a really great opportunity to get even more out of peer-to-peer fundraising. So through team fundraising, each individual still has access to their own page directly, but then you also have a team page which brings all those individuals together. So you're basically having a mini competition, a mini day of giving within your own organization. So one of my favorite examples is taking advantage of your board of directors. Every single nonprofit, no matter your size, no matter your resources, has a board of directors. And one of their key goals is always to help raise funds and serve as an ambassador for your cause. So this should be an opportunity for almost every nonprofit to think about building their campaign like this. So you can invite each of your board members to create their own page and then create this team page to bring these people together. As I mentioned, you have the template tool. You can send them emails, give them additional tools to be successful, give them an opportunity to kind of have fun and compete against each other. There's all kinds of fun competition things that the the board can do together, what the board member that raises the least or the board member that raises the most either gets to do or has to do. And this is just one opportunity. Maybe your board isn't a great resource for you, but you have lots of really committed volunteers, or you have lots of really committed alumni that have been served by your programming that really are the best people to tell the story about why your organization is so great. Totally up to you, but team fundraising allows you to bring these people together. And sometimes that can feel a little bit easier for an individual if they're not used to fundraising, they haven't done it before. If they're doing it in this group setting, it can make it feel a little bit easier for them to tackle this new concept. And so the final strategy that we're going to talk about today is really about matching grants. And we're not going to spend too much time because, as Louisa mentioned, there is a future webinar coming up in which you will dig more into this. But matching grants are really a great opportunity to make even more out of this giving day. So you can start the process now, and I'd encourage you to start the process now so that you have plenty of time to prospect, consider who do you have in your network that might be a potential matching donor, have the opportunity to cultivate, have conversations with them, learn about what it is they're looking for in terms of making their support, and make the ask ahead of the event so that you can have that matching grant secured, you can add it to your page, and add it into your email communications. So once you do that, you, as I mentioned, you'll want to promote the match. Half of the, well, I'm not going to say half of the value because it depends, but one of the best parts of getting a matching grant is not just the dollars that come from that match, but that it helps you secure additional funds from donors. Donors love to be able to make their donation go further because there's a match involved. And on the platform, there's lots of flexibility. You can do a dollar for dollar match. You can do a 1-to-1 match, 2-to-1 match, triple match. You can do a match based on the number of gifts that you receive. So it's not about if you raise $5,000, you made a match, but if you have 50 donations made to your page, you unlock a match. It depends on what your goals are for your campaign and or what the goals are of the matching donor. What are they trying to help you accomplish, or what are they trying to accomplish? And you have options. Maybe you don't have one big corporate partner that can give a sizable match, but you have a number of donors that might be able to be pooled together to make a more significant match. Or maybe you have a couple great funders and you want to stack matches up in sequence during the day so that throughout the whole day of Georgia Gives Day, you have multiple matches available. And as soon as one runs out, there's a new opportunity, again, getting donors excited about making their gift. And before we turn it over to any questions that you might have, I just wanted to take a quick moment to remind you of how you can get help from the Mightycause team. So again, we're here really to support you with all of your questions about using the platform, how to navigate the platform, how to update something on your page, how to access your information. All that is what you can contact the Mightycause support team for. We have a full support library available, support.mightycause.com. And here you can see how-to videos, we have walkthroughs, we have articles that will really walk you through all the aspects of the platform, how to add a video to your page, how to upload your logo, how to make your page look great, all kinds of great resources. So check out that support library, and chances are the question that you have, you will find in detail there, step-by-step instructions, how to do what you're trying to do on the platform. But if you're not able to find what you're looking for in our support library, you can always email us, support@mightycause.com, or give us a call. Our phone number is here. We're available Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 Eastern time. Happy to support you. So make sure that you remember that, bookmark this page, and keep that information handy so that you know how to reach out and contact us when you do have questions. And with that, I will turn it back over to Louisa to see if we've had any questions come in so far.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Bethany. We do have a few, so I'll start by just going through the ones that were submitted first. The first one's from Deanna. She says she understands Mightycause is an ECRM. If your nonprofit has its own, would we be running a full Georgia Gives Day campaign on our own, or are we still able to have any sort of listing within your overall page or in advance promotions you may have?
So I think I'll take part of this and then you can follow up, Louisa. So first I'll say that Mightycause does have a CRM as a part of our tools, but whether you have a CRM or not, on your own, you're welcome to use the Georgia Gives platform to raise funds and accept donations during the event day. You can, if you do have an external CRM, for example, you can very easily download your donor data at the end of the campaign or throughout. As I mentioned, it'll be in a CSV, so it's really easy to get that formatted and uploaded into your external CRM system. So you'll have access to the data and your donor database will be up to date. So you're certainly welcome to do that. And as I mentioned, you can add online donations if you do receive a donation, maybe by Facebook or some other source, and you want to have it reflected on your page. So hopefully that answers part of your question on, how you can take advantage of the platform if you have an external CRM.
Right, and I'll just add that, you can use the platform in any way. So if you do have an ECRM, you can still have a page, and I recommend it. Why? Because as a Georgia Gives campaign, we promote the site, where we promote folks to go explore, and organizations that have pages set up with their information will probably gain, there's an advantage to that versus not. So you can always link to your dedicated Georgia Gives page from your emails. And then, as Bethany mentioned, you will capture the leads that come through donations through Georgia Gives. So you basically can integrate them just to make them work for you. So Deanna, if you still have any questions, just plug that in the chat, and I can follow up with you individually as well. I'm gonna go to the next question from Vanessa. How can we set up a team page?
Great question. So from your profile, you'll see there's a little plus button at the top of the page, kind of up in the navigation. Clicking on that plus button, you'll see a drop down with the option to create a fundraiser, create a team, create an event. You're going to want to create a team. From there, we walk you through a short wizard to get your page set up. I will say a team fundraising page is very quick and easy to set up. There's maybe not even any required fields. If there is, maybe it's a title is the only thing that's required to get it started. But you can add more information like your logo, an image, a description, etc. And then within that team page, you'll have the opportunity to set up a template for any of the fundraisers that will be joining that page.
Great. And actually, as a follow-up from Kathy, can you have only a team fundraising competition without individual pages, say board or staff fundraising?
So is the question,
I guess, can you have a team page that doesn't have individual pages? I think is what Kathy's asking.
Gotcha. So part of the value of a team page is that you have the ability to have those individual pages underneath it. Now, if you have maybe, you have a case where each of your board members does not want to have their own unique page, but you just want to have one page for the board as a whole that they can share and track what's being raised by the board, I think you're probably better off just creating a fundraiser page for that. And you can, fill in the content on the page to say, this is the board fundraising page for Georgia Gives. All the funds raised, again, kind of aggregate on that page, and then each board member can just share that page. So if you're looking for that type of a solution where you just want one page that multiple people can share together, then I'd probably recommend the fundraiser page. If you're looking for something where, you know, the staff and the board will be both having their own page for your organization, but again, they don't want to have multiple, then you could do a team page, and then your leaderboard, instead of having an entry for John and Jim and Bethany, will have one entry for your board and one entry for your staff. So that might be an option. It just kind of depends on exactly what sort of a setup that you're looking for. But there's multiple ways that you can take advantage of peer-to-peer fundraising.
Great. And then from Charles, will board members who are given a template be able to send that template to other people who want to help fundraise?
So anybody can start a fundraiser on behalf of your organization. So if you create a template for, you know, for your board or for whomever, that template can be accessed by anybody who wants to start a fundraiser for your organization. So yes, I believe that answers the question. If you do create a template and the board member wants to encourage another individual to start a fundraiser for Georgia Gives, that individual will be able to take advantage of the template. But if they don't, if their network, you know, if they're not trying to encourage people to actually start their own fundraiser, they just want people to give to their fundraiser, then of course they have their direct link once they build their page that they can share with their network just to donate.
Great. And then Pat is asking, are Georgia nonprofits able to use Georgia Gives? And Pat, yes, the answer is, if you are a registered nonprofit, you should just search for your organization on the site. And if you aren't on there, you just email support@mightycause.com to get you set up. Does anyone have any other questions? I think I went through them all, and Emily answered a few of the ones regarding the fact that the recording and the slides will be distributed, so you guys will get a chance to share this out broadly. And if there are any questions you see here, there's a few options. If it's for technical support, reach out to Mightycause. If it's about Georgia Gives specifically, reach out to my team at info@georgiagives.org. Okay. We have a few more minutes, so appreciate everybody joining and listening. I think this information is so important. I think if you get a chance to do the basics and then maybe try out some of these other types of offerings that Mightycause has, I think it's a great step in the right direction. Again, there is the toolkit on georgiagives.org that also has steps, and we'll be placing a lot of the recordings and things there. So it's really your one-stop shop to get you guys to have the best Georgia Gives that you can. I just want to take a moment to thank Bethany so much for spending time with us. This has been super helpful. Oh, and I think there's one final question I'm going to sneak in since we have 2 minutes. What's the difference between a team page and an event page? Are you supposed to use them together? Good question.
Great question. So the difference there is that a team page is made up of just individual fundraiser pages, whereas an event page has the opportunity to be made up of both teams and individuals. So it depends on how complex or how detailed, I guess, your setup might be. But if you're just planning to have individuals create fundraising pages on behalf of your organization, then a team page is all you need. That will give you all the features you want. It'll give individuals great pages that they can build. But if you're looking for that extra layer of hierarchy, if you will, then an event page is for you. And I think the best example, I showed the example of the team page where it's just a bunch of board members creating a fundraiser for an organization. For an event page, I think a great example that helps illustrate it is, let's say you're a school and you have lots of different kind of people underneath you that might want to fundraise for the event. You can have team pages for each grade. For example, the first grade has a team, the second grade has a team, the third grade has a team. And then under each of those teams, you can either have individual students with fundraising pages, or if you have 3 or 4 classes, for example, different teachers, then there can be individual fundraiser page for each class that makes up that grade. So it really just depends on your structure. If you need that additional layer of hierarchy, that additional aspect of competition. But if you have lots of individuals that are going to be fundraising for you, and there is some kind of identification or grouping within those, then an event might be the right page for you.
That's a great question. So thanks, Charles, for asking. But we're up at time. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Bethany, again. And hopefully you guys join us for the next event in a few weeks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.